Good morning. I'm Dan Larson, and I'll be your host for today's Quiet Echo. I want to tell you about the drive home from conference. Rebecca and I attended every session of General Conference this weekend. We sat together, and we didn't talk much during them, the way you sit when something important is being said, and you want to make sure you hear it right. Rebecca had her experience of it. I had mine. Every person who attended had their own. What I want to share is mine. On the drive home, I was quiet. Rebecca knows when to let me be quiet. She sat with her hands folded and looked out at the country going by and let me think. By the time we pulled into Cedar Valley, I had one thing sitting on me. Not a doctrine, not a list, a recognition. I have been a contractor for 30 years. I have built houses in Cedar Valley since before some of the people living in them were born. I know what makes a house stand and what makes it fail. And the answer is always the foundation. Not the roof, not the windows, not the paint on the walls. What is underneath is everything. Get the foundation wrong, and nothing above it holds. What I heard at conference, what settled into me the way a thing settles when it finds the right place, is the same principle applied to peace, the peace the world is aching for. Personal peace, the peace between neighbors and between nations. It does not begin where we usually look for it. It does not begin in a policy or a treaty or an agreement between governments. It begins inside a person, one person choosing to become something better than they currently are, developing the attributes, doing the quiet work, humility, patience, charity, the willingness to hold yourself steady when everything in you wants to push back. Jesus said, and I have read these words 100 times, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. The world's peace is conditional. It requires the circumstances to be right first. His peace is not conditional. It exists before the circumstances change because it comes from what the person is becoming, not from what the world is doing around them. On the drive home, I started thinking about Cedar Valley, about every faith community in this town doing the same work in different buildings. Imam al-Roman at the mosque, the word Islam itself means peace. Salam, not just the absence of conflict, but the presence of wholeness. His congregation greets one another with it every time they meet. They are offering peace as a gift with every hello. The Jewish tradition carries shalom, which means more than peace, it means completeness. Nothing lacking, nothing broken. The Talmud teaches the entire Torah was given for the sake of peace. Not as a side benefit, as the purpose. The Greek Orthodox families in Cedar Valley. The teaching of theosis, the lifelong work of becoming more like God. The same quiet discipline, the same patient becoming. And what George has studied from the Buddhist tradition, peace, comes from within. Do not seek it without. The Buddha said it plainly. The work is internal. The world does not have to change first. You change first. Different buildings, different vocabularies, different paths, the same recognition. I am only one man, I know this. I cannot fix what is broken in the world. I can barely fix everything broken in my own house, and I built it myself. But I have been in Cedar Valley long enough to know what it looks like when enough people are doing the quiet work. You feel it in the way a family holds together under pressure, in the way a neighbor shows up without being asked, in the way a disagreement ends with both people still standing. You feel it in George's deli when he listens to a friend, in Aisha's questions not to win but to understand, in the way Lars stands at his counter and holds the standard without making anyone feel small for not meeting it. Cedar Valley is not a peaceful place because we agree on everything. We do not. Cedar Valley is a community because enough people in it are doing the work, quiet, imperfectly, every day. What I brought home from conference is not a program. It is a reminder. Peace is not what happens when the world gets better. Peace is what happens when enough people decide to get better themselves. Building from the foundation up, I am going to try to be one of them. Rebecca already is. Cedar Valley News has a new Facebook group. If you have comments and want to join the conversation, you are welcome. I will put the link in the show notes. This is Dan Larson, your host for today's Quiet Echo. Thanks for listening. Quiet Echo is part of the fictional Cedar Valley News series written by Evan Swenson, publisher, publication consultants, and Claude Marshall, AI developmental editor. While the people in town are fictional, the national events they reflect on are real.
You've been listening to the Cedar Valley News Podcast, where small-town voices meet the headlines shaping our world. From faith and family to front porches and fields. We'll be back with more stories connecting real lives to real events. Until next time, keep your porch light on, your faith strong, and your heart open. This is Cedar Valley News.